Hey pioneers, welcome back. It's done. It's finally done, and I couldn't be more proud of it. This is by far the biggest build I've done, the most complicated, and I think also the most good looking. I'm sorry, Copper Ingot Factory, you're no longer cool. So let's check this bad boy. We've got 18 floors, each one producing a different material, and 2 extra ones that we'll check out at the end of the video. On this side we can see an hypertube to get there faster, some cool lights on the pillars. All of the materials are coming through that rail, and it's connected through the hypertube. I had to build this whole building. That's the output management, where there are the sinks, the dimensional depots, and all of that. So let's start by checking that one out. I had just finished building a huge phallic building, and I wasn't feeling really creative. I just wanted to turn it on, so it doesn't look that great. But at least it's tidy, it's neat, it has some stairs at the sides, and the main entrance as usual is through hypertube, and that's the belt that's feeding it, a sushi belt. Necos have output management. So over here I spread the input belt into 18 different belts, and at the same time it is sorted. On that side I have the things I'm producing the most, and on this side the things that I'm producing the least. That's why we currently can't see anything. Maybe if we wait a little bit we can see something. Yes, there you got it. That's a portable miner. I'm doing one every 2 minutes. And here we have heavy modular frames. We have to wait a lot, and then I will have 3 in a row. And over here we should have the regular frames, but I don't think I'm waiting anymore. I'm unable to speed up time in real life, and I'm getting bored. So, over here we have a decorative belt, only that it has one of each item I'm currently producing. And it's sorted in the same order as those, because details matter. Oh, let me get back to the jetpack. Now, these are all of the inputs. Consumption-wise, 822 is pretty low, so I'm quite happy with it. And I have a cutoff time of 16 hours. That means if I turn off the factory, or if the whole power grid goes down, it will still work for 16 hours, because I place power storage after the main switch. Now this is all of my outputs. Feel free to pause the video and check them out if it interests you. And then each one is sent to one of these containers. These are the big ones that go through the floor, so I handle the belts on the lower level, and from here you don't see anything, which is pretty neat. Only one sink, because we have one input belt, so always the amount of sinks is equal to the amount of input belts if you're handling the overflow. And this is the logistics level. Pretty cool. Let's do a fast breakdown. This is the input that goes to a chain of smart splitters that makes this loop over there and back again, and it finishes there. Each one of this is filtering one different material, so that's how I'm spreading everything out. Then this goes to the top and goes down back here, when they are then sent to all of the containers. But still, there's some management that needs to be done. They always go first to another smart splitter that sends the overflow to one side, and that side gets merged on these mergers lines. And this is actually necessary. You need to handle the overflows because I'm working with a sushi bolt. So if one materials get completely filled up, it will jam the line and won't let the others come through. So each one of these needs to have a smart splitter to handle the overflow. All of these lines get merged at the end and they get sent to the sink. This one will be more active because it's the one the one I'm producing the most, and this one will probably be empty for a long time. One thing to note is that even though that I have a lot of stuff going on here, there's no belt touching the floor. You can run without tripping. You might still hit a column, but I place lights on them, so I think that if you hit one, it's on you. So how did I manage to make it so clean? I wanted to go over that. For example, check that lift. It's shorter than the shortest lift you can do. Or for example, diff lifts. They are also shorter. Or those one over there. They are also shorter than the shortest lift you can usually do. So let me show you how I achieved that. Oh, is this concrete? Why do I have concrete here? Done. Let's go over some examples. Let's assume you want to connect this constructor to that line with a merger. If you place the lift first, you can see that this is the lowest I can go. And it's far too tall to the level we want to go. So how do you do that? Well, the trick is to place the destination before you place the lift. For example, here we have 3 mergers and 3 constructors at different distances. If you do it like this, you will see that the lift snaps into position, meaning this will work. And it will also work for that distance, and it will also work for that distance. Placing the destination first allows you to get more flexibility and do things that are more compact. Another example, let's assume you wanted to connect this belt to that one. I have no idea why you want to do that, but let's assume you did. Usually that's the shortest distance, but it snaps because it already has the destination. And you've got a tiny cute lift. I think that the place where this is the most useful is when using floor holes. Here we have 4 at 4 different distances. And you might think it's impossible to get that one working, right? Well, actually they all work. Always start from the floor hole and make sure it snaps. For example, if I reverse the lift, right here it's not snapping because the direction is wrong, so this wouldn't work. You need to make sure it makes the cool sound. That one over there works. That one over there works. And that last guy over there, it also works. So by doing this you can do really compact lifts, some cool looking lifts, and it's quite a useful tip. Hope you guys enjoyed. Okay, now from our output management we will take the lift that takes us to the factory. We go through these weird pillars. And fun fact that those power lines are not decoration, they are the actual power lines I'm using. And after some time, we'll get here. Welcome to Necos Nexus. That's the parking for employees. I don't know where they drive to, but still, they can park. And well, we have some cool balconies to check out the view. And I think that's all. Over here we have where the materials come in, the hypertube, and the water extractors. But I wanted to talk about the water extractors first, because that was a huge defeat. I've explained many times that it's not good to connect several producers into one pipe, because they might end up competing against one another. But well, on the other hand, I'm taking fluids all the way to the top of the building. And if I did 4 independent pipes, I would have to take 4 pipes to the roof and also play 4 tons of pumps. I think I'm currently using 10 or 15, and I didn't want to consume all that power and use all of that space. So I decided, let's do 4 water extractors and send them all the way up into one pipe. And it didn't work. What happened? These 2 guys were buddies, and these 2 guys were buddies. But the thing is that they didn't like each other, so they started competing to deliver the liquids. These 2 were always winning the fight, meaning their buffer was maybe halfway through complete, and these guys were losing. It was completely full, and every once in a while it clogged and they stopped producing. Now, as I'm producing exactly the same amount of water I'm consuming, if one of these stops at any time, it means that eventually I will have some issues in the factory. I struggled a little bit. I mean, that's because there's an asymmetry, but I even counted these lines on the pipes to make sure everything was equal, but well, I didn't manage to get it. So at the end, I'm using only 2, because making symmetrical systems that when they are one right next to the other, it's pretty easy. And they've been working at 100% ever since. Still, I left those 2 because I get triggered by red or yellow lights, and I eventually want to fix them. So by seeing this over there, it will remind me to fix it. The issue, that is not actually an issue, but what bugs me right now is that as I'm using only 2, they are overclocked. And I never overclock anything. I think that it's out wasting power and there's no reason for it. And well, if I had 4, they wouldn't be overclocked. Right now, just to show, we are working at a constant 100%. No machine in the world is ever stopping. But yeah, I didn't manage to do it the way I want. So usually, it's better to only place 1 generator per pipe. But it's not always possible. And if you want to merge several, well, you might get weird issues. Now yes, let's continue with the showcase. From here, we've got access to the logistics levels, but I think I will be skipping them because they all look kind of the same. So let's get inside. We are on the first floor, where we are doing screws. The recipe is cast screw. They are clocked to 10% and I'm doing 25 a minute. This is done by a smart manifold, but I already explained a lot about topologies on the last video, so I won't be explaining that on this one. One thing to note, that I made something silly. All of the outputs are going to the middle, going to the roof, then they are getting split into 4 and going back to the logistics level. Why? I don't know, because I can. And I end up getting some DC screws. But well, it looks pretty cool. On this side over here, we have the hypertube. It only works it lets you skip 6 floors at a time, so you can do 6, 12, and 18. It's not connected to every single one of them. Another thing to note is that I originally placed different color of lights on each floor because I wanted when you see the building from the outside to see the different colors. But apparently they only get rendered when you are quite close, so I didn't get the effect that I wanted. So I switched to white because it's the best color to actually get some illumination going. On this side we can see all of the inputs that are all of our ingots that we've been creating, plus limestone. So let's go to the second floor, iron rods. That's the logistics level. And here we go. I started placing decorative belts all over the place, and we will be seeing many of those. Oh, I didn't show it in the other floor, but well, this is the output belt. As far as we go higher, we will be seeing less stuff on it. And we are doing 15 a minute. That goes directly to our output with a smart manifold. So those are my iron rods. I also did something silly over here. I'm splitting the output into two and merging it up on the logistics level. Now let's go for iron plates. This is my iron plate floor, that it has quite of a raise over there. This is all decorative belts. And we have 6 constructors. In this case they are load balanced, and we can see that I'm producing 60 a minute, but I'm only sending 20.5 to my output, because I need 2 for my portable miners and 35.5 for my reinforced iron plates. And if we go over here, we see that we no longer have iron ingots. That was the last floor that needed them. But we have a new belt with the plates that are going to the portable miners and the reinforced iron plates. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else worth mentioning. Let's continue going. Another logistics level. And we go to our copper sheets. The first floor with refineries. We are doing 22.5 a minute, going directly to our output, and they are clocked to 25%. A cool thing I made is I placed a chimney for the smoke with lights, and it ends up producing a cool effect. Because the smoke is purple. Mom, can we use summer sloops? No, we are using summer sloops at home. And well, over here some decorative belts. Our output that has less stuff right now. And we continue moving forward. More logistics. And we go to our wire. I don't know why, I placed the constructor at different heights. It looks pretty cool. And we have some decorative belts going all over the place. Here we're using the base recipe. Each one is working at 100%. And from the 240 I'm creating, I'm only taking 45 to the output, because I also need them for cable, rotors and reinforced iron plates. So we can see that there's a new line over here, carrying wire. Let's go to the cable floor. I really like this one, it looks messy. So we got a total of 5 constructors and a lot of decorative belts. This is also a smart manifold. I'm only creating 30 a minute, and they are clocked at 20%. I think that there's nothing new to see here. Nope. Here we have the hypertube, because we're currently at floor 6, so we could skip to floor 12. And our output belt. And some computers to play Minesweeper. Let's continue going. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. Reinforced iron plates. It looks pretty cool. This was the first and the last floor where I used an angle on the machines, because it's kind of a headache. I mean, to plop them like that, you need to place the foundations in an angle, construct everything, and then remove the foundations to restore them to the regular angle, and it takes a lot of work. I'm taking the outputs through a cool hole in the middle, and yeah, it looks pretty dope. Just a heads up, if you're working in this workstation, make sure not to bonk your head. Anyway, you're supposed to be using a hat, a protective gear, so if you are injured, fix it will take no liability. and you will be asked to repair the belt. So I'm creating 11.25, but I'm only taking 7.25 to the output because I'm using 4 for my modular frames. And this one is load balanced. So we should be able to see, yes, here they are, a new line carrying the reinforced iron plates. I think it looks really good. Okay, let's continue. Next floor, concrete. Some logistics. And this is the second floor with refineries. That also looked summer slooped. Some decorative belts doing some weird loops. A workstation, a wall filled with concrete. We can see that at this stage the output belt is pretty empty. So what do we get here? I'm doing 320 a minute, but I'm only taking 61 to my output, because I need them for 4 different materials. They are load balanced and they are working at 100%. So now we should see a new belt carrying the concrete. Now the next one is the steel pipes. 6 foundries placed on a line. I think this might be one of the only floors where you can actually see the outputs before they go to the logistics level, and it looks pretty cool. And they are a little bit asymmetric, just to make it look different. So what do we have here? We are using the molded steel recipe. They are working at 60%. And I'm creating 180, but only 33 goes to the output, because I need the steel pipes for all of these things. So we will be seeing a new line carrying steel pipes. And also, yes, this is floor number 9, we are halfway through. I added a balcony, so you can spit to the people that's on the bottom. Over here we are avoiding the hypertube, but don't worry, this is safe, it won't collapse because I supported it with a cool structure. But I think that maybe it would look cooler if I did also that. Improvements. Okay, so I don't know if there's something else to show over here. Let's move to the portable miners. We have 4 assemblers going on. Some decorative belts. I didn't know they looked this ugly. I was expecting something cooler. But well, that's what I got. And the numbers, I'm creating only 0.5 a minute. That means 1 every 2 minutes, because here you don't really need portable miners. And they are clocked at 12.5%. Next step, quick wire. And this is my quick wire floor. 6 constructors, all merging their outputs to the middle. Another workstation. This one is load balanced, and I'm creating 90 a minute, but I'm only taking 30 to my output, because I need them for the stators. So we will be seeing a new line with quick wire going to the upper roofs. Some decorative belts. And well, let's continue. Stators. Is that how you pronounce that word? Stators? Stators? I don't know. So we have 4 assemblers on different orientations, with the recipe quickwire stator clocked at 25%. I'm creating 8, but sending only 3 to the output, because I need some for the motors. And this is another floor that has hypertube access. Next one, we have this mess. Encased industrial beams. I don't know why I placed 6 assemblers. That's kind of a lot. And the logistics for this, it's kind of messy. But well, it works. I also might have exaggerated a little bit with the decorative belts. They are all over the place. But I think I like how it looks. It's all cramped up. It's all encased, like the industrial beams it creates. Yeah, no, I let myself out. Whee! So, what were we talking about? Oh, the industrial beams. These are encased industrial pipes, working at 50%. I'm producing 12, but I'm only sending 7 point something to the output, because I need 4 point something for my heavy modular frames. And I think this might be one of the floors that has more belts and lifts going on. So the next one are the rotors. Here we have 4 assemblers. Working at 50%. I'm creating 10, but only sending 5 to the output, because I need 5 for the motors. We have a whole wall made of rotors. And here is where the supervisor works. But if you're working as the supervisor, it's absolutely forbidden to count the rotors. We had some nasty experiences where he fell asleep into the keyboard, and that's not good. So no counting the rotors. Now let's continue through the steel beams. Logistics floor. And these are our steel beams for foundries. This is the first time that I split and remerged a decorative belt. It ended up taking too much space. So what are we producing? A total of 45, they are load balanced and they go directly to the output. Pretty straightforward. Working at 25%. And next one is the motors floor. For this one I gave a call to my buddy Elon and I asked him if he wanted to sponsor this floor. And he agreed, but there were some strings attached. So yeah, you can also buy a Cybertruck over here. And you might wonder, how did the Cybertruck get here? It can't even turn. But my theory is that it was already floating over here, and the factory was built around it. We are doing only 2.5 at 25%. It's load balanced and it goes directly to the output. As we get higher, we have less belts and we also can barely see any output. But there should be something somewhere. So if now no one's buying the car, we will continue with modular frames. Here we go. 4 assemblers, 4 computers, and I made some columns to support the decorative belts. So what are we doing here? We are doing a total of 6. The machines are working at 50%, and we are taking 2.25 to the output and 3.75 to the last floor, the heavy modular frames. So this logistics level, it's pretty empty. And here we have it, our last floor with heavy modular frames. 2 manufacturers working at 25, which gives us our 1.4065 heavy modular frames a minute. And this one should also have, a hypertube. But what's that? Do we have even more floors? Is that a hypertube? Yes, because the next one is my hypertube cannon. So what is this? Oh, and we also have the industrial fluid buffer. But well, as you might have guessed, this is an actual hypertube cannon. You first have to turn it on. This is a priority switch, meaning you will be able to turn it off from wherever you land. And also the input is not related to the factory itself. The factory might be completely off, but this would still work. But if the factory is off, the hypertubes to get this high won't be working. So it kind of defeats the purpose. You would have to take the stairs. But well, first you turn it on. Then you decide where do you want to go, west, south, east or north. Let's suppose we want to go east. So you just connect it. And you are all set. Now you yeet yourself. Whee! It's calculated with enough power to reach every point in the map. And you can appreciate how cool the building looks like. From the moment you land, you have exactly 15 seconds to build a priority switch and turn the hypertube cannon off. If not, Fixit will charge you for that wasted electricity. And they are pretty hefty prices. So now, let's walk back to the factory.
One eternity later.
We finally have our last floor, the radar tower. That also works as a control room. Here we have our switches, our priority switch of the factory, the one that turns everything on, and one for the water extractors to make a full pressure startup. Now the radar tower itself is not powered because I currently have a radar tower right over here. So it was kind of worthless. But if you want to turn it on, you can always do. And as with the hypertube cannon, this is not related to the factory, meaning it will always work even if the factory is off. But let's leave it off. We also have balconies to check out the view. And you can start climbing it through the stairs in the middle. Another floor with another balcony. And you can continue climbing. We get to the last floor, with another cute tiny balcony. And you can now reach the radar tower. And here we are, on top of the world. For reference, that's the highest point in the game. You actually get an achievement if you climb on top of that mountain. And I think that we might be at double the height. Quite an awesome build. And that sort of wraps up the video. I think this is all I had to show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. If you didn't, also leave a like. Don't worry, I'll be able to recognize what type of like. But tell me why you didn't like it. What do you want me to change? And also feel free to leave a comment, even if you don't have anything to say. Just tell me, what could we discuss today? Are you a dog person or a cat person? I don't have any strong feelings, but I'm more of a cat person, mainly because I'm lazy. I work 8 hours a day, then I spend a lot of time building factories, and I don't have time to take care of a dog. Anyway, right now I don't have any pet. I'm all alone. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.